NCRP Productions presents the Muttinshire Chronicles, a Pugmire actual play podcast. Story 1, The Calling. Character creation.
What it means to be a good dog. You know, don't beg at the table.
Don't bark. Don't motherfucking Delacroix.
Don't bark at the mailman. I am
Riggs look pretty fun.
Riggs. Riggs and Murtaugh.
Yeah, I figured I'd leave him. I'm gonna go with Riggs.
You're playing Riggs, okay.
I'm gonna go.
Are
with
you
Riggs.
gonna proxy?
Are you playing with Saluki?
Yeah.
I want to do dog. Listen up, dog.
So everyone's picked a dog.
Yeah,
Ryan, have you picked a dog?
Yeah.
Okay, you're playing the Saluki. I really wish that Sequoia
Sequoia
would be here today because I
is
think
that what this is?
yes, that's
that's
the
so
Saluki.
funny.
That's Lucille.
Of course, I would pick that one.
That's Lucille, the Saluki. All right. So cool. So everyone's picked a dog. All right.
It looks good.
Nobody picked the Bichon, dude.
Well, like I said, it's tough. So I either want to
or her Heinrich.
You're playing,
Come on.
right? Yeah.
Or Cordell, dude.
Yeah. I was really torn. I wanted to play the little guy, but
All right, no problem.
St. Bernard was hard to pass.
the drunk.
Right.
And you're blue.
So we're gonna go through a few little things. I was thinking of just having like a baseline stat line for everything, but it doesn't necessarily change. So I'm gonna give you there's 6 stats, and you're gonna put them in whatever one that you guys want, and you'll just there'll be some rudimentary character gen stuff to kind of familiarize you guys with.
Does your stat line have any bearing? So like a fighter is going to benefit from having a strength. Are you going to let us know based on like Fettles and companion?
Yeah. So it's the same thing. Yeah, you're going to get bonuses based on your breed, and I'll do the breed stuff first.
Are you want to do that on mic?
I don't think we need to. I think we'll do it off, just so that you guys can make decisions and stuff like that. And I'll explain. There's just other than I think everyone here at the table's played D&D, right? So you have a general idea of when you roll an attack or something like that, or do a skill check, you're rolling a D20. And that's going to be based on a general target number that you need to achieve, meet or exceed. There are criticals, and fumbles in this. So a 1 is an automatic miss, which is basically a fumble. A 20 is automatic success. It might have some degree of extra success involved. The dog bowl here, with the dog treats in it, this is called the Fortune Bowl. So at any time, if I think someone's really playing to their breed or something really funny or moves the story forward, I might throw in a piece into the Fortune Bowl. You guys are able to pull from the Fortune Bowl and add to the Fortune Bowl. All right. So, and I'll talk about how the fortune's spent, in game. But one of the ways fortune can be added to the bowl from a player perspective is you can decide to fail a skill check. You can basically say, I'm going to fumble this skill check so that we get a point of fortune. You can spend a point of fortune to re-roll any die on a roll. All right. So, the fortune thing is this, they're valuable, but that's what the things represent. And we start with 2 pieces of fortune in the bowl at the start of the game.
And is this the thing where you'll give it to somebody and we have the option to put it in the bowl, or
no? It goes in the bowl.
So that's the cat mechanic.
Yeah, it goes in the bowl, and then when you want to spend from the fortune bowl, you've got to get permission from the rest of the group. They've got to say it's okay. Or if they say, all right, cool, go ahead and spend, you pull a piece, and then it represents your ability to re-roll one of the dice. All right, so just a little thing about, so we'll start with Josh. You have the working dog, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you're the St. Bernard, you are Bosley, the working dog. So actually, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what you might write on a piece of scratch paper what your 6 ability score numbers are. So you might write down on a piece of scratch paper these are your stats, and I'll quickly go over the stats. So strength is your ability to apply physical force. Dexterity is your physical coordination and agility. If you're making like a ranged attack, initiative and combat, things like that are based on dexterity. Anything that's going to mean mobility. Constitution, your overall hardiness and resistance to pain. Your intelligence, your mental skill. Wisdom is your wit and common sense, and charisma is your personality. You get to assign one of the following numbers to each ability. So you have a 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and 8. No 11.
And do we know what class we are? Like if I do...
So you don't have a class yet, so it's going to be part of the story, right? Perfect. But you have a breed, and you get certain things that come along with your breed.
Awesome.
And we're going to go around the table. So we're going to start with Josh, who's playing Bosley, the working dog, or the working breed.
And then is calling, if you're a runner, a worker...
Yeah, a worker is your breed, right?
Okay, so that's your family.
Yeah. Okay, so runner is my breed.
Right.
Okay.
No.
Or
yes.
Saluki is his breed.
Yeah, isn't there a space for breed on there?
Family is the family of dog you belong to.
Family is a dog.
That would be like the
dog,
right. That's the breed. The family is the breed. Yeah.
No, the family is the type of dog.
So a worker, like a worker, right?
Family. His family is Saluki.
No.
So
His
you're
breed is the Saluki. His family is runner.
No, with this character.
No.
Oh.
So for you're a worker.
Yeah.
Right.
Your
That's your breed. Your breed is a working dog. Right. That's
So
your
you're
breed.
a worker breed.
You're a worker breed.
What is family in this game then?
Family is let's see, what is family in this game? I believe it's the you've got breeds. Do they also? Yes. You'll notice that the family names for dogs don't always look the same as the breed. So the family name could be like you are Bosley Bernard. Right.
Okay.
Typically, what happens with the family is like the last name kind of is indicative of your breed in a lot of instances, but it doesn't have to be. Right.
So they don't take much stock on whether I'm a Chihuahua or a Shepherd.
No.
That's just
That
the
doesn't
type.
matter.
So that matters to us personally for
right.
role playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But you belong to a certain breed.
class,
Right? There are
right.
actual
And
Or your family.
Yeah, they define breed as
a certain thing, because
your type. So you're a worker breed.
Right.
Okay.
the breed by strength and hard work. Workers excel in callings that rely on their muscles and a focused attitude towards manual labor and getting their paws dirty. So because of being the work breed, you get +2 bonus to strength, and you also, under tricks, right, brute strength.
Ooh.
These are things that, because of your breed, that you get. This is just for Josh, right, because he's a worker. All right, it's cool. So then, Ryan, who did you select as your dog? You selected Bishop. Bishop is a herder, right?
Yep.
So Bishop's a herder. You get +2 to wisdom, and your first trick, you get your bonus trick, Keen Observer. All right, and then Barry, what do you have?
I got Riggs.
Riggs is he's a Fettle. Yeah, Fettles are tenacious dogs, stalwart and tough in difficult situations. They don't get sick as often as other dogs. They resist injuries. You know, they're very resilient, breeds. Examples are like the Bulldogs, the Dalmatians, the Doberman, the Mastiff.
Too old for this shit.
So you get +2 to Constitution, and your bonus trick is Hardy Constitution. All right, and Pedro.
And I have Lucille, the runner.
All right, the runner. So runners are come from what they do. They run, So you get +2 to bonus dexterity, and your bonus trick is Speedy Runner.
We had a picture of the Saluki where it's completely in all stretched out run form, but since we had taken all the other pictures as heads, we took that one instead.
Wait, I need to look up Saluki.
Yeah, we specifically picked that for Sequoia and set that one up for her.
So what you're going to do is you're going to distribute those ability scores into each one of those abilities. Anything with a 12 or higher gives you a +1 or more bonus. And then as your breed, you're going to get a +2 in a certain stat.
So 12 and 13 are +1, 14,
Yep.
15 +2.
So every even number, you get the bonus goes up 1.
So 16 and 17 are +3.
Yeah. So
Now, the question is you said we get a +2 to whatever we have right.
Yeah, for your breed, yeah.
And that's +2 to the score.
To the stat. So if you put your 15 in your breed stat, then it would be a 17.
Okay, that's what I wanted to make sure. Okay.
Yeah. So everyone has what we call a proficiency bonus. So on the character sheet, you also write the proficiency bonus is +2. So anything that gives you, there's a certain list of things that you get to add your proficiency bonus to when making rolls. So if you're doing attack rolls using weapons for which you have an appropriate trick, or attack rolls with a spell you cast, something like that, you're proficient in it, then you're able to add that proficiency bonus. So there's certain instances where you'll add that bonus.
Are we able to know what our tricks do before we allocate stat points? Because like if a stat point gives a +1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Something.
So everyone's going to have a couple backgrounds. Basically, you're basically common mutts, right? So everyone's going to have for free. You're going to have under skills, handle animal, and survive.
We all have that?
Yeah, you all have that. That's just,
we can handle ourselves.
it's instilled into you from birth how to survive in the wild. You guys live in a remote, village.
And what's is there skills? Oh, wait, no, that's right. In this one, it's just those are the ones you're proficient with.
Mm-hmm.
I played a lot of 5e. Actually, I should say I've run a lot of 5e.
So for stamina, and this is going to be a representation of your life, your health. So since you don't have a calling yet, right? So you're going to start out at base D6 for your stamina. It's your stamina die type. So you have stamina dice, which can be used to, like, when you guys rest. Like if you take a rest for an hour, you guys can regain stamina dice, which you can then use to regain hit points if you rest, or regain spell slots or something like that once you've determined your calling.
Long rest, short rest.
Kind of similar. Yeah. So a dog's total stamina dice are equal to his level. So you guys, everyone's level 1. everyone gets 1d6, and I'll give you the maximum at first level, which is 6 hit points plus whatever your Constitution bonus is. That's going to be how many stamina points you start with.
All right, I did it, guys. Charisma's my dump stat.
But you're so pretty.
No, I'm not. Not the way I'm going in my head.
So as long as somebody has some charisma, I think we'll be okay. Anybody?
Yeah, I've got charisma.
Okay. My Saint Bernard's not very charismatic. At least he thinks he is, but maybe other people not so much.
So there's another thing in the game. They're kind of like feats, I guess, if you will. You know, there's special things that you know as dogs based on your breed. They're called tricks. So just so you know what your tricks do, and we'll be able, I think we've got, Barry, you've got a Pugmire book, right?
I do.
Okay, and I've got one here so the table can use to look things up. The worker gets brute strength.
8 a -1 or not?
8 is a 0, I believe. 8 and 9. Oh no, actually that might be a -1.
-1.
Actually, I think it is a -1. Let me look.
Usually.
You're right. Yes, 8 is a -1. All right, so the worker has brute strength. Brute strength says the worker with this trick gains an advantage on strength checks involving lifting or pulling something.
Nice.
So when you have an advantage on something, you're going to roll 2d20 and you're going to get to take the highest. If you have something with disadvantage, you're rolling 2d20 and you're taking the lowest. All right, so that's the worker. So you get advantage on lifting or pulling. Fettle, who was the someone?
I'm the Fettle.
You're the Fettle. Hardy Constitution says that you can add 1d4 to all Constitution saving throws.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're like really resistant to, like, you know, they're like dwarves. You know? The herder, who's playing bishop? All right.
I am.
Keen observer, which says the herder with this trick gains an advantage on all wisdom checks involving hearing, sight, or smell. So any check that you've got to do that involves hearing, sight, or smell, you get to roll at an advantage. So you get to roll 2d20 and take the highest.
Okay.
And then we've got Speedy Runner.
That's me.
All right. Speedy Runner says the runner with this trick gets an advantage on all dexterity checks having to do with running or being involved in a chase. Also, the character's speed is increased to 35 feet. Base speed of each character is 30 feet. So unless you're the Saluki, who has a base speed of 35.
Okay, I got 30.
Now, the way running works, so dogs in Pugmire, you stand up on your hind legs. You walk like bipedal creatures. You can drop to all fours and run. That increases your speed to 40. So normal speed upright is 30. If you drop to all fours and run, it's 40.
So does that mean I go to 45?
You go to 50.
Oh!
You go to 50. And you're 35 upright.
Woo-wee.
So that would be like 30/40 in that month.
Yeah.
What was your dog's name, Barry?
Mine is Riggs.
Riggs.
So each dog's going to have this kind of custom
Josh, your character's
the
name
breed
is
tricks,
Bosley.
background tricks.
Bosley.
The Boss.
Josh is Bosley. Why did I give myself a little negative room to write? We got Barry.
So Bosley, you're going to want to make a note. Now you carry under you've got and in your equipment you've got a canteen basically in the shape of a small barrel, and inside it is so as a working dog typically. Your family, your father is a Saint Bernard. He's a working dog, and he's in the village. He was tasked, with he's like first responder type dog.
How cold is it where our clan is?
It's mild temperature. It doesn't snow. The snow level doesn't get down to where you guys. You guys are basically you guys live on a river town. You're very close to a river, and you trade with a nearby dog village down river, right? But your father was a kind of a protection dog, if you will, or whatever, kind of lifesaver dog. And he wanted badly for you to follow in his footsteps, but you never really had... You guys, is where you're at in your lives, you're out of the puppy dog stage, you're in that kind of fully grown but adolescent dog stage, right? You have developed an early in life addiction to the whiskey in the barrel, right?
Oh my God.
Anytime a fight breaks out or something extremely stressful, which I'll let you know when it happens, you need to make a wisdom saving throw. If you don't, you forfeit your turn and you drink from the barrel. Right? After drinking from the barrel for 2 consecutive rounds, you're -2, so your attacks are at disadvantage, but they're at +2. They're at +2 damage.
Nice.
Okay. So you don't hit as well, but you hit harder. All right.
So would that be pretty much any time something stressful happens?
Like something really stressful. Like,
and you're going to re-go over each of these once we start, too.
Yeah, once it happens in game.
Once we... or do you want to just do it in game?
What's that? I'm just explaining these to you so you guys have an understanding of what your characters
But then, do we want to do it on here?
We're going to go around the table and talk about our characters a little bit to kind of introduce the characters, and you can talk about it in whatever way that you see fit. This is where the role playing aspect of it comes in. You can say, "All right, here, my name's Bosley, and I've got a drinking problem." You know what I mean? But
Hello,
what?
Bosley.
I'll elaborate a little bit. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Should all do
but that's what that in-game drinking problem really means, right? And the canteen has 6 doses of alcohol in it, and
6?
Yes.
Okay.
And when it runs out, if you are without alcohol for longer than a day, you start to suffer effects. Periodically, when you rest, usually, what will happen, you're like, you guys have never really left town. You don't venture out of the village because it's been taught to you that it's dangerous outside here, right? The only thing that you know that exists outside of, Muttinshire is this group of Dobermans that are fairly militaristic, and you're like, okay, they're dicks, right? They're super prejudiced, and they don't like other breeds, right? And they're just like, if you're not a Doberman, look at their ears, look at what's wrong with their hair, that kind of thing, They're a bunch of judgmental, Dobermans,
Bunch of assholes.
Yeah, and then a town called Doberton, right? Okay. So you're playing Bishop. All right. So from the teachings of the town, and as long as you've grown up, you believe that there are terrors out in the world, and you believe that your higher calling in life is to protect the herd, which is the town, from imminent danger. What that means in game is that anytime there's a threat, you will stop what you're doing to protect one of the group, right? Mm-hmm. And if you try and do something other than immediately addressing and engaging the threat to protect everyone else, putting your life first, you've got to make a will saving throw, or a wisdom saving throw.
Did you tell him what his trick does? Do you know what your trick does?
Yes.
All right, good,
No.
go.
Yep. It's cool. So then Riggs. Fettle. All right. Oh, and so part of that, just a little bit more to add to Bishop, part of that drawback, right, is anytime you see that there's a need for you to act and put yourself in harm's way, you do that, right, to a point where you can't control it, you know? You're like, oh, somebody in town, I will, you try and break up every fight that there is.
Look, guys, before we go, I'm going to have to help old Miss Withers.
Exactly. Hold on. Look. Wait. You know what I mean? So, you can't help it. You just, it's ingrained in you, right? And that can be a disadvantage for the group. You're like, we're trying to get this done, and you're running to go rescue the world, right? But it's like, that's what I do, right? So Riggs, you're a complete skeptic, all right? You're a total skeptic. You have a bond with Bishop. All right, you've seen, all you guys are friends, and you envy Bishop because you want to be that protector, but you haven't been because your skepticism of the world and everything, you're constantly second guessing things, going, yeah, no, that looks dangerous. We shouldn't go there. No, don't want it. No, wouldn't do it. Right? So you're constantly trying to no, I don't think this is a good idea, right? But it doesn't prevent your ability to act, but you're a constant skeptic of things especially things that look dangerous. You're like, I don't know. Even the things that are somewhat beneficial, like that smells really good, but you know what? I don't know what could be in it. Who made it? I didn't make it. So
is it a trap?
You're kind of a worrywart, right? And so it gets in your way sometimes. All right.
Okay.
What that means in game, as anytime you're forced to roll initiative, right? You have to make a wisdom saving throw or be at a -2 initiative modifier because you're so skeptical of what's happening. This is not a good idea that you get in your own way. All right.
Gotcha.
And these are all flaws meant to not handicap anyone, but to be flavor in game, right? So then we have the Saluki, right?
Oh yeah.
She's got the wheels, right?
You
did that.
I didn't do the wheels. I thought about having. I think the dachshund.
Heinrich would have been the best.
Heinrich would have had the wheels.
Would have been funny as shit if Saluki had wagon wheels.
Yeah. Well, so Saluki, the wiener dog was going to have these little braces on his back legs with little wagon wheels.
Oh.
So he's like, hold on, wait for me. So he had the massive, he had the congenital birth defects. He had the big overbite, and everything, and he's just kind of messed up. But he's like you're one of the crew.
Oh.
The Saluki Lucille is this. You've got this overwhelming desire to be a free spirit.
Oh.
You oppose the structure.
Saluki.
You oppose the structure of being told what to do, and anything that might confine you to falling in line with direction or orders. You do what you want to do, and you're extremely curious about things. Think about the Kinder back in Dragonlance, right?
So everyone's gonna hate me.
Well, no, what I hate you, but they know. They're like, wait a minute, where's Lucille? Anybody seen Lucille? Oh, there she is over there. You know, your curiosity gets the better part of you constantly, right? Because you're so you've got such a huge imagination and the will to run free that you dream about running through the hills, right, away from society where no one can tell you it's time to come home.
That's
right?
so perfect to what I had planned, because I was writing ideas and I said woodsy, outdoorsy, groomed hair, but there's a bunch of dirt in it.
Okay.
And dyed green fur from grass because because, and okay. I was like, perfect. It sets me out. I don't want to just.
Now I'm even more glad I didn't run the Bichon.
Yeah. So anytime you feel where this becomes a little bit of a detriment to you, anytime. This is great. Anytime you feel where you're being kind of pushed in a situation to act, or like, well, I have to do this right now.
Told what to do.
Right, or told what to do. You've got to make a wisdom saving throw. If you fail, you spend the round literally running. Yeah, dogs just like, they just run. You break off into a sprint and just do the sprinting. You're like, I start running for the round, and you can't control it. You're like, as a running dog, you just start to do the lap. And you can't control it, and it forfeits your turn for the round. And I'll let you decide where you're like, I'm feeling a little confined, I don't know, I can't take it. You make that saving throw, and you're like, all right, I take off running.
That's so funny.
And your curiosity gets the best of you to a point where you're constantly trying to get into things and look and be like, hey, what's going on? All right, so that's kind of everyone's like, what they deal with in life, right? Okay, so we got all that. You've got your flaws and things like that. Everyone's got a name. Typically, they have with the dogs, they have what are called bonds. You have a bond with something, and I like what they did. I really like what they did with Alien, having the rival and the what's it, the buddy or something like that or something like that. So everyone has a bond, some type of bond, whether it's openly known or if it's a secret. Like maybe Lucille's like, really has a crush on Bishop, but don't want Bishop to know, you know what I mean? Like, but she's like there, really wants to always know what he's doing, You're going to have a bond to one of the other characters, all right? And whether you can, write it down or you'll let us know, and when we talk about your character, whether that's an openly known thing or if it's a secret. If it's a secret, you don't need to talk about it, right? But know that you've got a bond with someone else in the group, and you will go out of your way to do certain things in game because you have that bond to that dog. Make sense? Cool. Any questions so far? Game mechanics pretty straightforward, and now let me go over how the fortune works. So, fortune and the fortune bowl. So at the start of your adventure, the fortune has 2 points in it. The guide, which is the game master, can put fortune in the bowl as players play to their personality traits. So as you play to your flaws, you play to your traits, things like moving the story forward. We're can add pieces into the thing. I can also give out fortune at my discretion if you're being a good dog or whatever. A player can force the guide to put fortune into the bowl by intentionally failing. Okay? If he's about to make a roll that one of his dog's personality traits would impact, such as being nice to cats or being diplomat, somebody where you have to make a roll, you can say, I'm going to automatically fail. So, for instance, if Lucille decides, I'm feeling a little pressured, to make a decision here, and I don't know if I like that, right? And is going to make that wisdom saving throw and says, you know what, I'm going to fail it and spend my round just running. Then I would put a piece of fortune in the fortune bowl. It says, the player can choose to fail before he rolls any dice. If he chooses failure, the guide adds a fortune to the bowl, and the results count as if the player rolled a botch. Now, whenever a character's in a tight spot, the player can ask the group if it's okay to use fortune from the bowl. If no one disagrees, so everyone's got to agree, he takes 1 fortune out of the bowl and gives it back to the guide. It's gone. The fortune player then rerolls any die, including a damage or stamina dice, choosing the higher roll. All right? If in the event that you have advantage on that roll, you get to decide which one of those dice you get to reroll. The other use for fortune, besides rerolling a die, spellcasters can use a point of fortune to cast a spell if they are out of spell slots. So, as a starting character, you only have so many spells you can cast. If you're out, you go, I'm going to use a piece of fortune to cast a spell as if you still had it. So that's how fortune works. That's pretty much the only types of things that you can do with fortune. And then as we go through, we'll talk about what you can do in the context of a round. The only other thing about how, and I'll explain this when we're recording, but just so you know it's coming. So when we go into any type of combat or initiative order, the person that rolled the highest, it's going to be a dexterity check. The person that rolled the highest is going to go first. From that point, that person that went chooses who goes next.
Oh.
So they can choose either.
guide.
Yeah, you can. You can choose either. The guide to go next, meaning if there's an NPC or a monster or something, I would go next. Or you choose who's going to go next in the round. The caveat to that is somebody can choose to interrupt that by choose who goes next. Once the next character is chosen, the player whose character hasn't gone can decide to interrupt the order. They spend a fortune from the bowl, as always, subject to group approval, and that player immediately goes to step 4, meaning they go next, right? And then they become the person who gets to go.
If we decide who should go next and then another person interrupts that, why would the person who decided that they shouldn't go next then approve that?
If there's a difference if there's not a unanimous agreement on who wants to go first.
So it's like it's
if Barry went first and he decided that Ryan was going to go next, and cool.
But then I wanted to go.
You decide you're like, no, I think this is really important, right? And you decide I'm going to
Barry
interrupt
on my side at
and
that
you
point.
can go in and interrupt and take a piece of fortune from the bowl and say, hey, no, I need to do this, right? So, because once you've chosen who goes next, that's the player going next. All right? Make sense?
For the saving throws, that number is the plus, right?
Yes.
And then for the dots, which is proficiency, we're not proficient in any saving throws yet because we don't have our calling, correct?
Correct.
And skill-wise, too, right? We don't have any skills yet.
Right, you don't have skills.
I thought we had handle animal.
You got handle animal and survive are the 2 skills that you have. So you can still make skill checks untrained. You just don't get the bonuses, basically, right?
Defense is dexterity bonus.
Let's see here. So your defense is.
And I think initiative is defense bonus.
Initiative is your dexterity bonus. So if you've got a dexterity with a bonus modifier, then that would be your initiative. I was going to look at a character sheet to guide me through there, but I sent them over there.
Is armor common amongst our tribe?
Yeah, so you guys have armor. You guys have things. The tribe has stuff. You guys aren't like these seasoned adventurers and things like you guys are just, you're young dogs, right? But you're at a point in life where you're like, you want to do something. And this big event that comes up and I'll talk about in the game is where you guys have like band together as friends. You're like, we need to do this. And it's a big deal in the village. So I know the world of Pugmire exists where there's civilized cities of dogs, and man is a thing of the past, is an ancient memory. And I'll talk about some of the things that go on in the village and once we get started. So everyone have an idea of their character? Does that help? Yeah?
I think I got a pretty decent idea.
Are ideals and bonds up to us, or is there going to be a process by which?
Well, you got your bond is somebody. I'm just using the bond as somebody else in the group, and whether you want that to be an open thing, you could talk about it. Like I have a bond with, like everybody knows that Lucille's got a thing,
right?
For Bosley or something, right?
But it doesn't have to be a player, or does it have to be a player bond?
The bond, yeah. So I'm using bonds as a player bond.
Okay.
Yeah. And but if you got a different type of ideal or something you want to add, feel free to talk about that and embellish that. That's where you have the freedom and your creativity.
Dexterity plus, the defense is what plus?
Oh, let me look at defense here.
Pedro, do you know?
Well, should be your dexterity and your armor.
Yeah, it would be your armor class.
I think it's your armor plus.
That was the question that prompted.
So right now, generally D&D is it's 10 plus your dexterity plus armor.
Right.
So then, if that's it, then if we don't have armor, then it
10
would be
plus the dexterity bonus. Or
bonus.
Action?
Yes.
Bonus.
So your defense is 10 plus your dex bonus. Your initiative is your dex bonus.
Yes.
Let's see here.
If this is because this looks exactly like
It's pretty much D&D.
And then is starting. Oh wait, no, we need our class in order to do starting stamina.
Yeah. So
okay, cool.
No, you got your starting stamina is
6.
D6.
Okay, but so in D&D it's usually 6 plus your Constitution modifier.
Yeah, that's what
Yes,
it is.
yes, yeah.
Okay, cool.
And you're getting max 6 points for first level, so you're gonna get.
So you have 6 plus your con bonus.
Yeah, so if you got like a +2 con bonus, you would have 8 points.
If in our calling we were to become a fighter, would we get like the 4 bonus hit points? Is that how that would work?
Yes.
We're gonna get our calling at the end of the game, so we don't have to worry about calling at all.
No, it won't be at the end. It'll be kind of in the middle.
Somewhere?
The first segue of the adventure, it's going to be
Cool.
looking for
Classless
defense.
vagabond.
So we're not level 1. We're level
No, I think
0.
we got defense, right? It's 10
You're
10
level
plus
1. You're like 0 plus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Dave, I think we have defense.
Here we go.
Dex plus armor plus dex bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's 10 plus dex modifier.
Dex
Is your
modifier,
defense.
that's what I mean. Armor plus
10 plus, yep. And your initiative is your same thing. So, yeah. So, and then movement's 30 feet unless you drop to all 4s. It's 40 feet. So basically, and in the context of a round, you get an action and a free action, right? And there's things you can do in action, and basically like, hey, I'm going to move to attack or something like that. So I'm ready. You ready for this, Ryan?
Oh yeah.
All right, cool.
Thank you for listening to another NCRP Productions podcast. To stay on top of everything we're doing, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and like us on Facebook, all at NCRP Productions. You can show your support and help us continue to produce content by joining our Patreon. We offer additional podcasts like our B-Sides and have GM materials, maps, and other fun things you can discover over time. You can find our podcasts on YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Apple, Google, and many other fine podcast sites. Just look for us at NCRP Productions. We value your thoughts, so please don't hesitate to leave us feedback or comments. And if you would like to contact us directly, you can email us at ncrpproductions@gmail.com.